Early Golden is the parent of most of the cultivated persimmon varieties today. And it doesn't yield quite as well, but the flavor is just really great. And there's a lot of variability in flavor in American persimmon between one variety and another. Meter, which is the one they sell in all the catalogs, tastes like onions. I don't like it at all. And not in a durian good kind of way. But this one, which needs a little more time to ripen, is just great. And these will stay on the tree until, some varieties will stay on the tree until Thanksgiving. And the leaves will all fallen off, so it's very nice ornamental. And the flavor is sort of between winter squash and dates. It has a much denser texture and consistency than the Asian persimmon, which are much larger and more watery, and there's almost nothing there. These are really, really nice. And tough as nails. It's a great, tough tree. So let's talk about the other elements over here that really make this an edible forest garden. We have different layers of plants, right? We have trees and shrubs and herbs and ground covers. We have vines and fungi all growing together in here. And we'll take a sort of a walk through each of those layers a little bit. In the shrub layer, this is a dwarf mulberry over here, Giraldi dwarf, which I didn't like at first, but now I think it's one of the best mulberry varieties I've had. It makes very heavy yields over about a 6-week period. It's not huge, so it doesn't take up a ton of room. And then we use the leaves to feed our silkworms, which we feed to the chickens. So it has multiple. Some mulberry varieties are good to eat the leaves, cook the leaves. This does not taste good at all.
What was the variety?
Giraldi dwarf. We got that from Edible Landscaping Nursery. It's not around in the trade that much, but it really should be. It's very nice. And it's much better than having a giant mulberry tree if you have a little yard, right? So then we move on to our herbaceous layer, where we have a couple of key elements. One of them is perennial vegetables. You like perennial vegetables, right? This is Turkish rocket, and the main crop on this is the broccolis. It's sort of a broccoli rabe flavor, that like mustardy, nutty, nice cooked broccoli with thin shoots like that, not big heads of broccoli. You also can eat the young leaves in the spring and fall. I'm going to say right now they're pretty darn spicy. They're really for cooking only. But if you'd like to try one, you can take a little piece and pass them on if you want. Some people like them. I don't care for woolly leaves raw, but if I cook them, they're almost indistinguishable from mustard greens, and that's fine. I'll need a few more of those, don't I? I can tell you that a salad made out of these is horrible. I was forced to eat one time. Of big mature leaves, it was really bad. But okay, perennial vegetables. One of the elements we want here, we also have a number of other perennial vegetables in here.
Thanks.
These are Welsh onions, which are basically just perennial scallions, and we allow those to grow to form a big clump. And then we dig up the clump, pull some out, and stick some back in the hole. So you can manage those as a perennial very nicely. All in here and totally invisible right now, we have ramps, which is a really nice native leek that comes up in the spring and then dies back, so it's hiding right now, but they're very, very nice and loves shade. The next element, this is a perennial vegetable that is a multifunctional species. This is skirt, which is a sort of a perennial parsnip, and these flowers don't look like much right now. It's in the umbel family. It's attracting beneficial insects. It's controlling pests. It's providing nectar for the parasitoid and predatory insects that are on caterpillar patrol and aphid patrol here in our garden.
What was the name again?
Skirret.
How do you spell that?
S-K-I-R-R-E-T. So it's a species that's providing food for us and also doing pest control at the same time. It's starting to get a little shaded out in here. We're going to need to move it over. We also have ground covers in here as an important component. This is a native violet, which is also a super urban survivor, the common blue violet, Viola sororia, which is okay eating. It's not great, but the flowers are very nice in salads and stuff in the spring, right? There's a beautiful patch over there of green and gold, which is a native evergreen ground cover that attracts beneficial insects. So whenever you can add a native species in, whenever you can add in something that has multiple functions, we try and do that. So we've got probably 40 maybe 50 species just in this one area. Your forest garden doesn't need to be this complex, but we sort of like complex. Another thing that's in here that maybe we'll sample a little bit over lunch is toothwort, which is like a native wasabi. It's closely related to wasabi, and it's just a really, really nice, what do you call it, biting horseradish, but it's got a nice bright bite to it. Very, very good.
Do you use the logs as markers at all?
We do. And a lot of these are spent mushroom logs, so they
Okay.
fruit every once in a while. This spring we had some nice shiitakes on that one back there. We also have some vines in here on the back. That is, we have the Hablitzia climbing spinach, and then we have a perennial squash that we were hoping would taste good and didn't. We waited 3 years for it to fruit, and it finally fruited and it tasted bad. So we try and thin the herd for you guys a little bit, I think is kind of the idea there.